In today's video, I turned every Inanimate Insanity Season 1 character into a ghost. And no, I did not do Knife or Bow since they're already ghosts. The first character I started off with was Paintbrush. I first did the tail and colored them in. I thought making them lighter colors would make them more ghost-like. Looking at the other ghosts of the show, Knife, Doe and Bow, their limbs and eyes are the color of their outline. So I changed all of that to match. They also don't really have shading or other colors because they're, well, ghosts. So I removed all of that as well and made it one solid color, as you can see from the metal part of Paintbrush. After I finished coloring in their hair, I actually stopped there but went back. I thought I could make it better and more ghost-like, making it wavy and longer like the tails they have. Lastly, I made the outline thicker since it looked kind of weird thin, and this is what I ended up with. I think it looks pretty decent and adds more with their hair being most ghostly. Next person I decided to work on was Marshmallow. There wasn't much to do with her that I could think of. Her colors are also so bright that I didn't bother to change them. All I really did was add a tail, make it a bit smaller and change her eyes and limb colors. Like the actual ghost characters, a lot of them will just have a tail. However, some of them will have some special features that I added to make them look more ghost-like. This is how Marshmallow turned out, a bit basic but I think it's good. The third character I did was Apple. Not sure why, but I made her limbs and face a bit darker than usual, and colored her a bit bright, but I think it worked out. Originally I was just gonna give her one tail and call it a day, but I had an interesting idea that I really liked. I made her leaves look more ghostly, which looks cooler and adds a bit more to her. Afterwards I gave her a double tail since she kind of has two bumps down by her legs, so I thought it would be unique to do. She is the only one I gave it to, so it's definitely unique. I also think I could get better at making the tails. I'll try in the next video. The fourth contestant I did was Nickel. He was kind of hard to do since I didn't make his face or outline too dark. I like the colors I did, but he definitely could have been a bit darker. He's also pretty basic since I didn't know what else to add to him, so he's like Knife and only got a tail. The tail also looks a bit out of place, but I didn't know where else to put it. Overall I think he turned out okay, but there's certainly better ones. Next up is the first winner of Inanimate Insanity, OJ. I wanted to make his tail more rounder like his glass, as you can see. I think it turned out okay, but it's kind of wonky and a bit too thin. I then made his outline, face and limbs a bit brighter. I actually really like the color I used for them. I made the tail a bit smaller for some reason, but I definitely could have made it a bit better. Lastly, I colored him in. I wasn't entirely sure if I should keep his juice 3D at the top, but I decided it would look better and make more sense that it isn't. This is what I ended up with. I think it's okay, but again a bit basic and could have been a lot better than it is. We're about a third of the way done turning them into Ghost. Who has been your favorite so far? Next is Pepper, and yeah, she's another basic ghost. I couldn't really come up with much to give her, but some of the next few are a bit more than basic. I was also gonna leave the lines on her hand, but thought they looked bad, and once again it makes more sense to remove it. Don't really have much more to say about her. I guess her tail once again could have been a bit better, but other than that she's another basic ghost that I couldn't think of anything else to add. If you guys have any ideas for them, then tell me down in the comments and maybe I can redo them. The next character I did was the host of the entire show. You might be wondering why I made the background green. Well, that's because I thought it would be easier to see the white outline around him. However, I kind of regret doing that now since I had to erase the green outline afterwards. I made his arms white because of said outline. At first I didn't think I'd be doing the hosts, but there's no reason to not do them, plus they look pretty cool. I realize I never gave his tail an outline, but I actually think it looks good without one. I really like the blue I used for him, and as for his eyes, I thought it'd be super interesting to make one black and the other white. Kind of symbolizing that he's been pretty bad but still has good in him. His mouth might look a bit weird with it open and light on the inside, but I didn't want to just give him a smile like I did for some other characters. This is how he turned out. I think he looks pretty cool, much better than being generic and just having a tail attached to him. We are now halfway done with the cast. The next character I did was Paper. I could have kept his color white, but I decided to change it and make it a bit gray. He was pretty hard to do thanks to the lines. I thought it'd be cool to make them wavy like his tail. I even added them to his tail, although I'm not entirely sure what to think about it. He does look good, and the waves on his tail is pretty unique. Maybe if I did them better then it would look way better. Originally I wasn't gonna go back and fix his tail, but I thought it looked terrible, so I went back and redid it. I think it looks better, but again could have been nicer. This is what I ended with. I think I should have used either a brighter gray or a darker pink and blue. Next up is Balloon. He is kind of another basic ghost other than his tail. I kept it similar to his Not Below because I thought it'd look good, and I think it does. I don't really have anything else to say about him, so let me mention how I made them transparent and pixelated. I looked up some free online sites to do both, and I think they turned out good. I didn't save the transparent website, but I'm sure it's easy to find, while the pixelization one is called panettools.com. Back to Balloon. Again, he's a bit basic, but he turned out well. Pickle is the next character I've done. At first I thought I made him a little too bright, but after turning him transparent, I think it turned out great. He's pretty much another basic ghost. Again, if you have any ideas for them, let me know. I thought about making his tail just all bumpy, but that looked terrible, so I changed it back to a point at the end. Lastly, I thought having his mouth open would look bad, so I covered over it and just gave him a normal smile. This is what he turned out. Might be a bit bright, but I actually like the colors I used and how he looks. Next up is Baseball. I wasn't sure about the color I used, but after making him transparent, I think it works out. I also kind of wished I turned his mouth into a smile like Pickle, but it looks decent enough, I think. I thought about adding lines to his tail like he already has, but I went against it because I thought it'd look stupid. Tell me if I should try it though. This is what I ended up with, another basic one, and his tail could be thicker, but I like it. Next I did was the co-host of the show, Mephone 4S. He's pretty similar to Mephone 4, I even used the same colors at some point since they're basically the same phone. The only difference between them is I colored both of his arms white and made his glasses a bit darker. I think it could have been cool if I made them half white and black, but thought it'd be too similar to Mephone 4. Lastly, I changed his mouth because once again I thought it looked weird. Then I gave him a tail like Mephone 4 and gave it an outline just to make it a bit different. I think it turned out well and looks good. Salt is the next character I did, and yeah, we're back to the basics. There wasn't much I could do to make her different from anyone else, especially Pepper. I started off with her tail, which might look a bit wonky, but it's decent enough. Afterwards I colored her in with a very light gray and redid the mouth once again. I personally think the smiles look better without their mouths open, but let me know what you think. Lastly, I just copied and pasted Pepper's top over Salt since they're the exact same, and I really didn't feel like coloring it in again. This is what she turned out to look like, certainly not the best but at least good. The third to last character I did was Lightbulb. She's another basic character, but after her the last two left have some pretty cool differences. Like usual, I made her colors lighter. Originally I was gonna give her a pretty small tail, kind of like Balloon. However, I decided against that and thought it looked better a bit bigger. Afterwards I wasn't sure to make her eyes and mouth yellow like her face, or gray like her limbs. I went with yellow since it makes more sense with her face, so I guess that's a pretty unique feature for her. I also kept her mouth open this time and just filled it all in. This is what I ended up with. I think she looks pretty bright, despite being a ghost now. Only 2 characters left. The penultimate one I did was Bomb. I don't really have much to say about him. As usual, I made his colors lighter. Afterwards I added a little ghostly spike to the end of his fuse since it makes him a little more spookier. Originally I was gonna give him a tail and end it there, but I also made his top thing rounder and smoother. I think it suits him being a ghost and changes up just a tiny bit. That's where I ended up with him. not too much change but still nice. Last but certainly not least, we have Taco. I saved her for last because I think she has the coolest design out of all 16 characters I did. I knew from about the third character, what I wanted to do with Taco. You could probably tell behind the pixelization that I turned all her lettuce and tomatoes into kind of ghost tails. I just realized that the shading on her didn't really make sense, but we can just ignore that because I think it looks extremely great. Kind of makes her look like a goddess or something. Plus without the shading, I don't think it'd be as good as it is. Definitely my favorite of all the ghosts I made so far. This is what I ended up with at the end. Just a great design that I don't think will be beat by any other characters in Season 2, 3, or 4. So those are all the Season 1 characters turned into a ghost. Who do you think has the best design or your favorite? Like I said, Taco is my favorite and best, but I also like Apple, Bomb and Paintbrush. If you enjoyed this video then make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out and I appreciate it. If this video does well and you want me to, I would definitely do all the other characters in the other seasons. They will probably be shorter since they have less newbies, but I'm super down to do them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye.